So, have you ever stopped to consider that becoming a top 1% man involves seeing things that you simply can never unsee, such as your true potential? And once you're shown that with a little bit of work you can be, do, and have whatever you want in life, you will never be able to see the world from the same lens, and therein lies the first dark problem. You're now for once in your life aware of not only what you don't want, but what you do want and who you can become. And being fully aware of the gap between where you are right now and the top 1% men that you aspire to, that distance can torture you to death if you don't work to make it to the top. So what I'm going to do today in practice is show you what steps you need to take in order to become a top 1% man, or like I refer to it, a new Renaissance man. This pyramid represents the hierarchical structure of society, and the vast majority of the people will inevitably be stuck at the bottom for their entire existence. And as sad as that may be, it's just the honest reality, and they will always be stuck under the thumb of the puppet masters. And in contrast to that, at the very top of the pyramid, we have the new Renaissance man. And these are the men who broke free from the puppet master's control and decided to live life on their terms. And on the last episode of the Digital Renaissance, I showed you the 5 millionaire traits it takes to become a new Renaissance man. And today I'm going to show you how to put these traits into practice to make it to the top of the pyramid, even if you're starting from zero. There are 4 stages you need to go through in order to get there, and I'm going to reveal you each stage sequentially. And for each stage, I'm going to show you what's your objective in it, what life looks like, and most importantly, what you have to do to progress to the next stage. So if you ever want to see what the journey looks like from having absolutely nothing to having it all, today I'm going to show you firsthand. So we start our first stage. I call it rock bottom. The good news is, because you're starting from the bottom, there's quite literally only one place to go, and that's up. And the bad news is the more you stay here, the harder it is to leave, and that is because of one little sneaky issue that affects all of us, or at least the people at the bottom of the pyramid. And that's inflation. Right now, inflation is through the roof, and they say it's around 8 to 10% in the UK and US, but that is BS. It is way worse. Because listen, the way the puppet masters calculate inflation is they take a basket of goods and they see how much it costs to buy. Then they compare how much this cost increases year after year. And that's what they call inflation, but this is BS because what they do is they change the goods in the basket every single year in order to manipulate the final number. I mean, really, it's just classic puppet master manipulation. So if you want to know what the real inflation is, simply compare the price you paid for gas a year ago and the price you pay for gas today. And compare the price of how much it costed to rent a 2-bedroom apartment in your city a year ago and how much it costs to rent that same apartment today. And you will see that the number is much, much higher than they claim. Now, what happens when inflation goes through the roof is that the rich simply get richer because they own all the assets and those start to rise. While the poor get poorer because the only thing that they hold, and most of the time it's not even much of it, is cash, and it is getting debased, it is getting devalued day by day. And the most insidious part of this is now it is harder and harder for poor people to actually acquire assets. Meaning the more time you spend at the bottom, the harder it is to actually break free. And by the way, just wait for things to really hit the fan, which is not very far away by any means. I mean, look, it almost happened twice just last month alone when the pound nearly collapsed and Bank of England had to step in to avoid the worst. So if the economy collapses, the banks fail, which is not out of the question whatsoever, well then things will turn very dark very quickly. So the question is, how do you get out of this? Well, quite frankly, you should have thought about that 2 years ago when the government told you that you cannot eat in a restaurant because you did not get the complying citizen shot. So quite frankly, that was the best time to start. But the second best time to start is right now. It's not ideal by any means, but things are about to get worse. So here's what you need to start doing. You need to start by making your own money. And this is the objective of this first phase, which is make money. I'm not talking about, making money with a career where the government can simply tell you overnight, oh, you're not allowed to go to work. You need to make money by yourself. And in episode 2, I already outlined the best way to do this is by starting a very simple service-based online digital business. And that's just a fancy way for saying sell impactful services to businesses around you. And that, gentlemen, is the easiest and fastest way to start making $2,000, $3,000, or even $5,000 a month without having to slave yourself away working for someone else. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's actually rather simple. First, you need to select the service that you want to deliver, and there's no need to overcomplicate this. If you select email marketing, well, all you got to do is write a few emails. That's it. You think you can do that? Perfect. Okay, great. So no need to overthink it. People try to make this sound way more complicated than it needs to be, but actually it's quite straightforward. Can you write emails? Cool. Then you can sell email marketing. Can you create Instagram posts? Cool. Well, then you can sell social media management. Can you edit videos? Amazing. Then you can sell content creation. Can you create ads? Perfect, then you can sell paid advertising. And you can't do any of those? Well, cool. Can you learn how to do them? I mean, let's be honest. If you spent an entire month learning how to write emails, do you think that by the end of the month, you'll be pretty good at it? And not only would you have learned it after a month, but after a month, you would have gotten to a point where you are good enough to actually start selling these services to businesses. Now, inside of Agency Navigator, we have a very in-depth phase on how to create ad campaigns that takes around a week to go through if you invest an hour a day into it. And to this day, I've yet to meet someone who watched all of those videos and wasn't able to learn how to create ad campaigns. So all you gotta do is learn one of these services and start offering it to businesses. And it really is that simple. Now, you might be asking, how do you offer it to businesses? Well, let's run through that. You can contact these businesses through email, through DMs, you can call them, you can send them a video, really whatever works best for you. And just remember, every single call or message or email you send here represents you getting one step closer from breaking free of the puppet master's control and is one step closer to the top of the pyramid. And this is exactly what our student Arthur did, by the way. Only 33 days after starting, he signed his first client at $750 a month, plus 8% of the profit his service generates the client. And remember in the last episode, I talked about how accountability is one of the 5 traits of the new Renaissance men? Well, here's some proof. Arthur knew the importance of accountability, and that's why he had Jabali. Now, Jabali, or at our company, we actually just call him Bali, is one of our student success concierges, and he holds him accountable to his goals. And that's the sort of results you get when you receive a game plan, you execute on that game plan, and most importantly, you have someone in your corner to keep you accountable. And that, my friends, is a new Renaissance man in the making. Oh, and by the way, if you were wondering what a fish is, at Great Agency, we have this culture of photoshopping yourself catching a fish whenever you sign a client. And you can see Grayson also caught his first fish 7 weeks after joining the program. It was a small one, but that's already enough to get you to the next stage. And we also have Yust, who signed his first client at $2,500 a month and is already looking to scale this client to $5,000 a month in billables. Now, notice how he mentions that he actually got on a Q&A call with Luis. Now, Luis is one of our coaches at Agency Navigator, and after applying what he was told, he signed his first client. And not only that, but 3 days later, he went on to sign his second client. So he basically went from $0 to $8,500 a month in 3 days, because he took advantage of 2 traits of the top 1% men. First was accountability, and second was the power of knowledge, of learning from people who have already walked the path that he wants to walk. And Yust is just another one of our new Renaissance men working his way to the top of the pyramid. And after signing your first client, you'll start making some money, and this takes you into the next stage of the pyramid. I call this second stage of the purgatory, and that's because here's where 90% of the people get stuck indefinitely. And here you're already making money. It could be a little, it could be a lot. So if you have a job, you are most likely at this stage. And if that's the case for you, then let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like you're selling your soul just to pay the bills? And let's be real, majority of the times you don't even enjoy what you're doing, but it pays the bills. And it feels like it's the only option you have. And for some people, it starts as a temporary gig, but temporary turns into a few months, and then that turns into a few years. And then decades later, you look back thinking, what the hell did I just do in my life? And they always believe their own lie that, oh, in a few months, I'll quit and I'll move on to something else. But few months turns into never. All while trading your most valuable time just so you can make enough money to pay for electricity, your mortgage, your car payment, all that stuff, so you can wake up, have a coffee, drive to work, spend your entire day at work, come back, have a place to rest your head, and at the end of it, you have no money left. It is absolute madness. You're essentially working for free because you're giving up your entire life force, and in return, you're not actually even getting anything that benefits your life or that you can actually enjoy or use. And ladies and gentlemen, that is kind of the definition of a slave, someone who works and in return doesn't get paid for their hours. So yes, you technically get paid, but after all the expenses that are needed in order to even just have a job, you have no money left. And you think you're free because technically you have your own money. But as I said, at the end of the month, there's nothing left. So your life has not changed whatsoever. And it does not get more miserable than that. And you might have fleeting thoughts here and there that you want to break free of this cycle, but all roads ahead just lead to the same destination, which is being stuck in modern day slavery. So there's really only one way to break free, and that's make enough money outside of your job that you can quit. So that is really your objective at this stage. So how do you do that? Well, it's the very same way from the previous stage, and that's by starting your own service-based online business. The difference is one client will not be enough for you to actually quit your job. So what you have to do is, after choosing your service on the previous stage, you have to perfect your way of outreaching to clients from there. This way, you'll be able to close clients consistently, meaning you will develop the ability to get paid consistently whenever you need more cash. And in order to do that, I recommend you focus on one outreach method until you perfect it. It can be email, Instagram DMs, Facebook messages, calls, whatever it may be. Where most people get it wrong though is they try to go straight for the kill. What they do is they message people and try to sell them straight away, and that just comes across super disingenuous to potential clients because they can tell, they can smell the desperation from you that you haven't actually done any research about their business. You don't care about helping them. All you care about is making a quick buck. Plus, I'll be honest, selling through emails or DMs is highly ineffective. What you have to do instead is to start a conversation and then offer to help them. And you can offer to help them, for example, by creating an action plan for implementing email marketing strategies in their business or whatever your service may be. I'm just using that as an example. Something that would bring them value so that way they can see that you are actually trying to help. Then, in order to create such action plan, you just invite them to a Zoom meeting. And you can prepare the whole action plan beforehand by taking a look at what they're currently doing and seeing where they can improve. Again, don't overcomplicate things here. If you are offering email marketing services, well then just look at what they're currently doing. Are they sending emails already? If so, how often? And do they have a way to get new people into their email list? And based on that, you create a plan. Then at the end of the meeting, you just ask if they would like your help to actually execute the plan that you've just created. And if they say yes, congratulations, you've just signed your first client. And really the whole key in this process is to get good at sending messages in the first place. Because if you perfect outreach, then you've acquired the ability to really just make money on demand. And when you do that, you will never have to worry about money ever again. And this is what Ellen did. In her own words, here's what a month of prospecting can do. By the way, prospecting is the same thing as outreach, by the way. And it's really the act of getting in contact with potential clients. She just got a client to pay her $11,000 upfront at only 17 years old while still in high school. Exactly as she said, there's no reason you won't succeed as long as you put in the work in your outreach. Outreach really is 80% of the game here. And by the way, I've talked a lot about becoming a top 1% man here, and that's because the vast majority of my audience is men, but you can see it still works for women regardless. The point here is that one deal like that and you can really quit your job. I mean, same story for Zane, who after 2 weeks of outreach signed his first client at $5,000 a month. And that's already enough for you to quit your job. And this is really the whole objective of this stage, because once you quit your job, then your life truly changes. Because for the very first time, you are not at the mercy of other people's will. No more asking for permission, no more donating your time to someone else. And the best part is the government won't have the option of saying, today you can't go to work anymore, because you have freed yourself from becoming a slave. And you should be very proud of that, by the way. Now, the best part of this entire business model is that it doesn't require you to take a full leap and quit your job today. You can do it on the side until you make enough money to justify quitting. No need to burn any bridges or run any unnecessary risks. And once you do get to the point, once you're making enough money with your agency, well then you move on to the next stage. Now, I call it the money trap. And here's where you get to a territory where people are starting to make FU money. They're getting closer to financial freedom, and for some, they've already accomplished it. The objective of this phase is for you to achieve financial freedom, but not only that, it's also for you to achieve time freedom. And this is a very important nuance that most people overlook, because remember, the new Renaissance men enjoy the perks of financial, time, and location freedom. Only one of them is not enough. Now, we already have location freedom just simply because of the nature of our work. But it's very easy to get caught up in the weeds and turn your business into a self-employed job where you're once again slaving away, trading your time in exchange for money. The majority of the highly prestigious careers, such as bankers, judges, lawyers, doctors, well, they get caught in this trap. And you'd think that they would be at the top of this pyramid because they are considered to be successful by any stretch of the imagination. And they do well very financially. However, we don't adopt normal rules. We as Renaissance men, we create our own rules. The stages of our pyramid are not defined by how much money you make, as most people would think, but rather as how much freedom you have, which is what really matters at the end of the day. Money, in fact, plays a very small role. More important than the money itself is how you make such money. The way you make your money is really what dictates how much freedom that you have in your life. I mean, what's the point of making millions if you can't even enjoy the freedom that such money is meant to provide for you? And most people don't understand that income is very relative. The judge and the banker might make $100,000 a month, but they also have to work 10-hour days of a highly stressful and brain-dead job that deep down inside they hate. And not only that, but they can only enjoy 2 vacations a year. While you, as an agency owner, can make $10,000 a month while working only 4 hours a week on your agency from anywhere in the world. So who's actually richer at the end of the day? Oh, and by the way, for 3 years, I ran my agency making $100,000 a month profit every single month while still only working 4 hours a week. And that's really the difference between us and them. They have a job. We have a business. And the beauty of that is we can take advantage of the 8th wonder of the world, which is outsourcing. Because the bankers, the architects, even the football players, all of their money is dependent on them showing up every day and spending hours and hours slaving away. Whereas us, we can hire a quality team, especially at the beginning, hire an amazing team of contractors to actually fulfill the work, and we enjoy the spoils. And that is how you achieve not only financial freedom, but time freedom. All you have to do is find someone who is already experienced at delivering the services that you deliver and let them run the show. And this is how we get into our 9th wonder of the world, which is hiring globally. The way we set up our agreement with the contractor is that they get paid a certain amount per client and always at the end of each month, while you always get paid upfront by your clients. This way, you'll never ever have to pay them out of pocket, so you literally don't have any risk on your end. I mean, it's kind of like Uber. If a new driver registers for it, they only get paid after their rides. This way, Uber always gets paid first, and there's no added risk on their end. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what I call contractor arbitrage. And that's exactly what guys like Dylan do. His client pays him $1,500 a month, and he outsources all the work for $350. By the way, notice that Dylan is taking advantage of contractor arbitrage right from the get-go, because you don't necessarily need to go through the whole journey of learning how to deliver a service yourself to then only end up outsourcing it, because you can hack your way to the top by outsourcing it from the get-go and never having to worry about service delivery in the first place. And that, gentlemen, is how you get to 4-hour work weeks with your agency. Now imagine having this level of freedom while signing 6 clients in 10 days like our student Alex. Every single one of those clients is going to pay him recurringly every single month. And let's say your average retainer is $2,500 a month, which is very common between our students. 6 clients for $2,500 every 2 to 3 weeks, each one adding on top of each other. You see how fast this can scale to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 and even more a month. And at this point, you'll achieve our 3 pillars, which is financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom, which means you have successfully completed this stage and have become a new Renaissance man, a top 1% man, a man that does not need to play by the rules because he has earned the right to do so. The right to play by his own rules, and you will never have to worry about being controlled again because you have broken free from the strings of the puppet masters. Because if the government says that you can't go to a restaurant or a nightclub or a gym, fine. You have financial freedom and location freedom, so you just pack up and go to a country that is not insane. And if inflation is skyrocketing, well, you don't need to worry about your money losing value because you have enough of it to buy assets and actually get richer because of it. And more importantly, you will be at the right place at the right time, fully equipped to take advantage of all of the opportunities that the new digital renaissance presents. But now I need you to wake up because you're not quite there yet. So whatever stage you're currently in, I need you to get to the top ASAP. I mean, all of these wins must sound like music to your ear, but let's not forget the cold, hard reality. There is still a war going on against men, and the puppet masters are still pulling their strings in order to strip us of our freedoms and keep us silenced. And the only way to stop the new dark ages is for us to step up and become new Renaissance men that do not put up with all this BS they are trying to shove down our throats and just accept. But time is running out. The more that you wait, the more that the puppet master's grand plan goes into effect, and the closer they get to implementing the final stage that strips us entirely of all of our basic rights. So if you don't think that it should be normal for people to be told when they can and cannot leave their house, for it to be normal that, people can just get their entire social media platform shut down for disagreeing with the narrative, or hell, even their bank account shut down, well then you have to act now. So let's take a step back and recap what it takes to become a new Renaissance man. First of all, you need the 5 top 1% traits. You need a business, you need knowledge, you need community, you need accountability, and you need self-improvement. And the first one is a business. And if your goal is to work your way to the top and become a man that has financial, geographical, and location freedom, well then there is no other option than starting a digital business. And you can search wherever you want, and you can dream of becoming a footballer, an actor, or starting your city's most popular new club or restaurant. But at the end of the day, there's no other vehicle that will provide you with those 3 pillars. Digital businesses are the way, and the best digital business to start is a service-based one, more specifically an agency. And after that, you need the knowledge on how to start an agency, and not any type of knowledge, but specifically empirical knowledge. And the way to acquire empirical knowledge is by learning from people that have already walked the path that you want to walk. And this knowledge is available inside of Agency Navigator, and inside of it, you'll go through 6 phases that will arm you with the knowledge needed to work your way up the pyramid. In the first phase, you'll learn how to set up all the fundamentals needed needed to start signing your first clients and making money. That is, setting up your payment processors and bank accounts so that way you can start getting paid, choosing the best services to offer clients, choosing the right niche, setting up tools for client communication, etc., etc. Once you have all that in place, you go to the second phase. Now in phase 2, we have the most in-depth mindset training available in the industry. Internalizing and applying principles from this module is what sets apart the students who get to $10,000 months in record time from the ones that struggle and just get a mediocre level of success. And after you have the mindset, we go to phase 3, and this is where I'll cover all the questions you may have about operations. You'll learn how to price your services for maximum profit, how to do taxes, how to onboard new clients, how to hire contractors, and properly structure your work agreement with them. Now, with such systems and processes in place, you go to phase 4, which is all about prospecting. Now here, we cover the best prospecting and outreach strategies, showing you exactly what you need to do in order to start conversations and get potential clients on a meeting with you. And after going through this phase, you will have no trouble setting meetings with potential clients. Then you get into phase 5, which is sales. Now here, you're gonna learn how to close clients for $2,000 to $10,000 in your agency. And you'll get to see real life examples of me closing clients from my own agency. Plus, you'll get access to the exact same sales scripts I use, which has generated millions in agency sales. Now, once you go through this phase, getting people to give you money will never be a problem ever again. And that's a life-changing skill to acquire, and I'm sure you can see why. Finally, in phase 6, we teach you everything you need to know about service delivery. We focus specifically on paid traffic because that's the only service where you're not required to do more work in order to charge more and scale clients' results. Usually, doubling clients' results is as simple as doubling the budget of your ad campaigns on Facebook, which takes 2 clicks to do. And if you structure your client deals the way we teach you to, that also means doubling how much they're paying you in performance fees. So in this module, we teach you everything you need to know about getting killer results for clients with Facebook ads, even if you have never ran an ad in your entire life. We take you by the hand and turn you into a master. So here's the thing. With this knowledge, we have kids straight from high school successfully starting their agencies and scaling them to $10,000 a month. And we've had people doing it in North America, in Europe, but also in countries like India, Nepal, Algeria, South Africa, and everywhere else you can imagine. And with this knowledge, we've had countless people who can barely even speak English succeeding. And with all of that at your disposal, do you think you're going to be able to succeed? Well, if you believe so, well then let's move on to the next 2 traits. And that is community and accountability. Because listen, I can give you the best knowledge and the best action plan, but just like a fancy gym membership, if you don't show up, then none of it matters. You won't get results if you don't show up. And that is why we have such a high success rate in our program, because we have 4 different types of accountability. Inside of our student community, you're gonna have peer-to-peer accountability where you'll have people at the same level as you, starting at the same time you're starting, so that way you can walk this journey together and stop feeling that it is you against the world. It becomes us against the world. And that makes a huge difference when times get difficult. Next, you're gonna have alumni accountability. So these are people who are further ahead of you, and they're gonna be pulling you and cheering you ahead because they've done it and they know the way. Guys just like Amog, who just bought his first Rolex with the profits from his agency. And guys like Courtney, who managed to sign 15 clients in just the first 2 months of 2022. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And imagine those 5 people are from this community rather than the 5 people you currently spend the most time with. I mean, how much further along would that take you? And you're also gonna have expert accountability from coaches who have done this hundreds of times. We have weekly Q&A calls with Pierre, who scaled his own personal agency to $30,000 a month and was also a 50-50 partner at another agency doing $100K a month. And he also happens to be my business partner at my software company, Agency Flow. So he gets to see the inner workings of thousands of agencies every single day. Then we also have Luis on the Q&A calls, who was my lead media buyer at my own agency. So he was in the trenches every day for years taking care of my own clients. Finally, we have Max, who is a student integration manager for Apex, which is our mastermind level program for agencies doing more than $30,000 a month. And he's a specialist in prospecting and sales. So he also hosts a weekly Q&A to help students with their outreach efforts. And they are all there ready to help you, along with our student success concierge team that we spend a lot of money and a lot of time developing earlier on in the year. They provide one-on-one accountability to our students, so that way they have check-in calls at day 1, month 2, month 3, month 6, and month 12. And you've already seen countless examples of success and wins where the person literally mentioned just how influential having that accountability and support, whether that be from our coaches or whether that be from our student success concierge team, and really how that was a key part of them executing on their game plan. And lastly, you need self-improvement to always make sure that your axe is sharp. And that was the one thing that, in my opinion, Agency Navigator was lacking. So I thought to myself, how could I fill that gap and offer my students with the best self-improvement experience that they could ever have? And that's how I got into contact with one of my good friends, Hamza, and we worked out something incredible for you guys. So Hamza has actually been working on something quietly in the background for months. He decided it was time to take his self-improvement content to a whole new dimension. He noticed that just like you, there's a lot of people out there who want to start their business or side hustle. However, they face mad resistance when it comes to transitioning from working a normal job or even from not having any work at all to starting their own digital business. There's a lot of moving pieces and it's very easy to get busy with work that doesn't actually take you anywhere. So what Hamza did is he developed a system of self-improvement and productivity for young men who are starting their own business. And with it, you will be able to make the transition from employee to business owner within just a matter of weeks, something that takes most people months, if not years, to accomplish. And he's actually officially launching this program, teaching this methods in a few months. But what I actually did was I spent a lot of money to actually buy the rights to get access to this program to include as a bonus for the digital renaissance. So that way we are leaving absolutely nothing out of the equation and we are hitting every single one of the 5 millionaire traits you need in order to become the new Renaissance man. So with all of this, you become the full package. So really just to sum everything up, this is the map for becoming a top 1% man and starting a business that will provide you with financial, location, and time freedom. And what does it take for you to leave rock bottom of the pyramid and get all the way to the top? Well, first of all, you need a business and knowledge, both of which you're going to get inside of Agency Navigator. Then you need accountability and community. And that's why we have our 4 levels of accountability: peer-to-peer with people in the same level as you inside, alumni accountability from people who are further ahead of you in the same journey, expert accountability from coaches who have done this literally hundreds of times, which you can get with our weekly Q&A calls with Luis, Pierre, and Max, as well as we've actually brought on 2 extra coaches as well. So I believe now in Agency Navigator, it's 6 coaching calls a week, plus obviously the recordings of that. And lastly, one-on-one accountability with our student success concierge team. And finally, you need self-improvement, and that you'll get with Hamza's productivity system. Look, every single day we get dozens of students joining Agency Navigator, and the price of the program is $1,500. Well, $1,499 to be specific. And by the end of the year, we're gonna transition to a subscription-based model where people are actually gonna have to pay that amount yearly, because it literally takes hundreds of hours a week for our coaches to give enough attention to everyone in the program to the point where it will eventually become unsustainable, keeping it as a one-time fee. And by the way, we already made the shift to a subscription based on our higher level program, Apex, by the way. And when it comes to Hamza's entrepreneur productivity program, no one has ever had access to this content before, and he's gonna be launching it later this year for $750. And now I'm gonna present you with a one-time deal specifically for those of you who have watched all episodes of the Digital Renaissance. And when the 4th episode premieres on Monday, I'm gonna open the cart for this offer. You're gonna get access to Agency Navigator, the private student community, the weekly Q&A calls, the recordings of the Q&A calls, the 4 levels of accountability, and Hamza's entrepreneur productivity course. Basically everything we just discussed. And the total price for this bundle will be $2,250. And by the way, that's not some fake inflated price. Hey, total value is this and this. Once again, we have dozens of students every single day paying $1,500 in order to join Agency Navigator. And when Hamza launches his course in a few months, it's gonna launch at the price point of $750. And to be honest, $2,250 would be a steal, knowing that our average student gets their first paying client within 60 days. And they usually range at $2,000 a month retainer. However, you're not going to be paying $2,250 for this bundle. In fact, I'm not even going to charge you the full price of $1,500 for Agency Nav. When I launch this offer on Monday, you're going to be getting this full bundle for only $995. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a 65% discount on the full price of this package. However, this offer is only going to be available until next Sunday. And after that, Agency Navigator will go back to its regular price of $1,500 and you will never have a chance to get the extra bonuses again. But there is a slight catch, and here's the deal. We don't have enough hands to give one-on-one attention to everyone who joins this promo. I mean, last time we had an event like this, we had almost 2,000 people join Agency Navigator. That's why we decided everyone who buys will get access to Agency Navigator, the student community, weekly Q&A calls, the 4 levels of accountability, and Hamza's productivity system. However, only the first 400 people who buy on Monday will get VIP access to the calendars of our student success concierge for one-on-one accountability. You see, our student success concierge team, or SSC team for short, is small because it is extremely hard to find the level of talent needed to give the best experience to our students, and we're not going to settle for anything less. So every single person in our SSC team is a straight up killer. We've had over 10,000 people apply and go through our hiring processes for this position at this point, from which we've selected 5 gifted individuals. And if you're one of the first 400 people who gets Agency Navigator when I release the offer on Monday at 5 p.m. UK during the premiere of episode 4, you're gonna get preferential access to their calendar, which guarantees that they'll have availability for you within the first 7 days of joining. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, what I want you to do now is go to the first link in the description, and I want you to register to our VIP list with your full name, your email, and your phone number. The people who are on that list are gonna get preferential access when the offer launches on Monday, so that way you can be one of the first lucky 400. Ladies and gents, remember, this is your last chance to free yourself from the puppet masters. The time for urgency and for you to start working in order to accomplish financial freedom, geographical freedom, and time freedom was 2 years ago when they started all this tyrannical BS. But the second best time is now. The clock is ticking, and the longer that you wait, the harder it will become to free yourself. So if you want to step up and you want to become a new Renaissance man, click the first link in the description, join the VIP list, and I will see you on Monday at 5 p.m. UK time.